You assume that the walls of the FBI are impenetrable, that the people tasked with hunting down foreign spies are, by definition, the patriots, and that if a massive, hemorrhaging wound existed in the American intelligence apparatus, someone, anyone, would notice the blood. But for 22 years, that assumption was wrong. We aren't talking about a sophisticated hacking group or a listening device planted in a wall. We are talking about a single, human error that became systemic in the form of Robert Philip Hanssen. To the casual observer, Hanssen was a boring, grumpy bureaucrat, a devout Catholic, and a father of 6 who wore dark suits and complained about the cost of living in New York. But look closer, because this wasn't just a bad apple, it was a catastrophic failure of the entire counterintelligence ecosystem. Here's the reality check. Intelligence agencies operate on a principle called need to know, designed to compartmentalize damage, so that if one agent turns, they only burn what they touch. But Hanssen didn't just touch the system, he was the architect of it. As a computer expert in an era when most agents still used typewriters, he built the databases used to track Soviet spies. He knew exactly where the blind spots were, because he was the one who programmed them. Pause for a second and think about the psychological profile required to do this. A phenomenon psychologists call radical compartmentalization. Because while most people cannot hold 2 contradictory realities in their minds simultaneously without cracking under the cognitive dissonance, Hanssen didn't just tolerate the dissonance, he thrived on it. Leaving Mass on a Sunday morning to drive to a park in Vienna, Virginia, and tape a piece of white adhesive tape to a signpost, a signal that wasn't high-tech, but analog and banal, indicating to the Russians that a dead drop package was ready. This is where it gets disturbing, because the FBI knew they had a mole. Assets were dying throughout the 1980s and 90s. They saw the pattern, they saw the data loss, but they suffered from a cognitive bias known as mirror imaging. They refused to believe the traitor could be one of their own sworn agents. Consequently, looking at the CIA and hunting an innocent man, Brian Kelly, destroying his life simply because he fit the narrative of a spy. All while Hanssen sat in the corner office, watching them hunt the wrong man, literally, a fox in charge of the security detail. Ultimately, you don't catch a man who knows the pursuit protocols better than the pursuers on tradecraft. You catch him on ego. Hanssen became sloppy not because he was incompetent, but because of arrogance and normalcy bias, believing he was the smartest man in the room, until he was arrested at Foxstone Park in 2001, where he simply asked, "What took you so long?" Hanssen had compromised the continuity of government plans and sold the entire playbook of American counterintelligence for $1.4 million, proving that the greatest vulnerability in any secure system is rarely the encryption, but the human element, and the trust we place in a suit and a title. The chilling realization isn't just that Robert Hanssen existed, it lies in Redmond's law of counterintelligence, which states that if you don't have a spy in your organization, you just haven't found them yet. The system didn't fail because it was broken. It failed because it was designed to trust, and trust is a liability.